By now, everybody knows the auto industry began playing the downsizing game when the first oil embargo hit in 1973. But it wasn't only cars and trucks that were affected. What was at worst a traumatic experience for car companies was almost catastrophic for the recreational vehicle industry. 10 years ago, a typical RV managed only 5 to 8 miles per gallon, hardly what you'd call energy efficient. RV makers had to scramble to revise the motorized home. The trick was to make them thrifty enough to attract buyers who'd become painfully educated in the ways of fuel economy. Difficult, but not, as it turns out, impossible. And one of the best-known makers of recreational vehicles, Winnebago, has led the way towards rekindling that American passion for getting away from it all. And you can't do it with more comfort and convenience in a much smaller or stylish package than the Winnebago LeSharo. A similar home away from home is also sold under Winnebago's Itasca brand as the Pulsar. Both of them are only 19 feet 8 inches long. That's only 21 inches longer than a full-size Chevrolet Caprice station wagon. Introduced in 1982, the LeSharo represents a departure from the way the recreational vehicle industry used to do business. Like most up-to-date modern cars, the LeSharo is front-wheel drive. All drivetrain components and many lesser items are made in France by Renault. They're mated to the body and chassis at Winnebago's Forest City, Iowa assembly plant. Current LeSharo models run on diesel fuel. The standard power plant is a 2-liter oil burner, with our test rig equipped with the new turbo diesel option. Later this year, Winnebago also hopes to add Renault's new 2.2-liter gasser to the lineup. We found that routine checks are easy. For instance, Winnebago provides a dual battery system featuring Sears die-hard cells, so a bum battery can be serviced under warranty almost anywhere. But it's the turbo diesel engine itself that made a lasting impression on us. While a 3,000-mile test by the United States Auto Club rated a prototype at 24 miles per gallon, MotorWeek recorded a range of 18 to 25 on a variety of weekend trips. Yet it still has truly impressive power. About the only thing we'd like to see is a fifth gear, so you could get maximum use of the engine's torque. The engine does get a bit noisy at 55 miles per hour, but it's not really bothersome. And the excellent cruise control on our Winnie kept a constant speed on all but the steepest grades. Staff members who'd never driven a motorhome before felt it was no more cumbersome than a regular van. The extra length isn't much of a concern, and the ride is smooth with no undue amount of sway in heavy crosswinds. The dash is also made by Renault. It's Spartan, but does contain adequate information. It also has a great-sounding stereo and lots of storage nooks. And for enjoying the scenery, you get an expansive front windshield with minimal blind spots. Once at the campsite, you can have total privacy by snapping the windshield and front door glass cover in place. All the glass is tinted. The 4 large side windows crank open and have screens, Venetian blinds, and full curtains. Back on the road, 4 adults can ride in comfort in thickly padded seats. The front 2 are of the captain's chair rank and both recline and swivel. Second-row passengers will find small recesses in the wall that contain an ashtray and a cup holder. Behind the left seats is a full Pullman-style bathroom with shower. The drain is exposed by pulling out a carpet cover, and 2 latches allow you to extend the cabinet to full size. Besides a toilet and handheld shower head, there's also a folding sink and generous storage. A short, if deep, clothes closet is next door, and all walls are lined with sliding door cabinets. The kitchen is across the hall, with a stainless steel sink and a 2-burner stovetop. There's also a small refrigerator down below. Rear seating includes 2 inward-facing bench seats around a large table. For overnights, the table is removed and the seats fold flat, with some effort, into what RV folks consider sleeping room for 2. While it might be cramped for continuous use, weekenders will find it generous enough. An additional bed for two is constructed by folding the front passenger seats and installing a pair of extra cushions. Again, cozy but livable. As you've probably gathered, there are some compromises to be made in the LeSharo. Anyone over 5'8" will have to bend a bit to move around, though it's not a major concession. The worst is getting to and from the driver's seat. For that, you have to duck under the diesel-driven air conditioner. A rooftop electric unit can also be ordered to keep things cool while you're parked, but that will take up even more room. However, that and the fact that the roof is not stressed for a luggage rack are the only significant drawbacks we found in the small LeSharo. And they're only going to be a bother to families used to much larger and thirstier RVs. If you're upgrading from a fancy van, though, you've got to love it. That also goes for price. While a 7-seat Centauri model is available for around $18,000, the full LeSharo treatment begins at $23,000, with our rig totaling $25,700. Not all that much more than many leisure conversions of ordinary full-size vans. We frankly had a great time finding out just how far we could go in the Winnebago LeSharo. It's easy to drive, has just about every feature you need for modest-length outings, and was no more costly to operate than a mid-size car. It should open up the RV market to a lot of people who may have never considered owning one before. There's an old saying that from all things that are bad comes something good. And in the case of the energy crunch, the good news is that the fallout has at least produced some very efficient RV units, like the Winnebago LeSharo.